Yu-Hu was surprised to see that someone from the direct dragon race was among them. However, Mrs. Zhou told him to treat her as a normal classmate too, because they had confirmed that her spirit essence had nothing to do with Dong's. Dong was still pouting by the fact that Chiu looked like her. She was concerned that people might misunderstand one for another. Yu-Hu consoled her that he wasn't sure about other people, but he would definitely recognize her because of Yu-Hu-Dong bonding power. While they were heading back to their dorms, Dong was still thinking about Chiu and had a feeling that something was not right. She had a feeling that she had seen Chiu's eyes somewhere, but wasn't sure where. Out of curiosity, she asked Yu-Ho whether Chiu was sent by heaven to steal him because she looked more like the girl in the light neon dress than her. Yu-Hu laughed at her teasingly and said that no matter how alike both of them looked, Chiu still wasn't the same as her. He comforted her that after the school starts again, then both of them would always train, eat, and live together, and the only thing that was irreplaceable was her, so she shouldn't worry about other things. After hearing that, her heart was at ease, and she also shyly agreed with him to train with him at night. Yu-Hu was almost jumping with happiness when he heard that. However, she also threatened him that if he had any ulterior motives, then she would punish him. She proudly said that he should know he was only a spirit king while she was a spirit emperor. When he terrifyingly asked her whether she was bullying him, she laughingly replied that indeed she was. Meanwhile, Chiu was sitting beside the lake wondering how there could be someone that looked like her. She couldn't figure out what it was all about. When Yu-Hu and Dong returned to their dorm, Yu-Hu started to write important notes about the methods of spirit seal contract, while Dong was preparing the dining table for them to eat. After setting the table and placing their chairs together, she sat near Yu-Hu and waited for him to finish his work. She was tired and yawning, but still she didn't want to miss dinner with him. After a few moments, Yu-Hu finished his work, which he was going to submit to the principal the next day. Therefore, both of them sat at the dinner table and had a delicious meal. While Yu-Hu was eating, Dong asked him to teach her cooking so that she could make a meal for him without bringing it from the mess. Yu-Hu denied immediately without explaining. Dong thought that his recipes might be very dear to him. That's why he wasn't sharing them with her. On the contrary, he replied that he didn't want to teach her because he wanted to cook for her, instead of her cooking for him. He said that he loved her so much and wanted to cherish her by protecting her. By hearing that he cared for her so much, her eyes filled with tears. Yu-Hu consoled her by saying that she shouldn't worry and leave everything to him because he was strong enough to carry her burdens. But Dong laughed at him and teased him that still, he was only the Spirit King. However, he said that protecting her was unrelated to power. While Yu-Hu was having his dinner, Dong then said that she had looked over Chu's situation and found out that her spirit rank was 60. She also confirmed that in the near future, students were going to participate in an activity to obtain spirit rings, and that Chu might also join the event. Therefore, she advised that they should also participate in the event together. After finishing the dinner and taking a shower, Yu-Hu asked Dong to train the fusion in the bed. Although she completely turned red at his words, she agreed, and both of them went to the bed. There they trained their spiritual fusion techniques for several hours. The next morning, both of them went to report to the martial soul headmaster, Kai Mei, to allow them to enter the spirit ring obtaining the event. However, Mei rejected their proposal immediately. When Yu-Hu asked the reason, she said that if they had brought the proposal in the past, then it wouldn't have been an issue. However, as Yu-Hu was now the current intergenerational heir of the Sea Lord's Pavilion, therefore she couldn't allow it. Dong was shocked to hear that he had a special status now. Meanwhile, Yu-Hu argued with Headmaster Mei to allow him to participate in the event, as everyone else was participating too. Mei denied once again by telling that his position wasn't any ordinary, and that they couldn't ensure his safety while being in the midst of the forest. He said that everyone who was participating were students, therefore it shouldn't be an issue. However, Mei replied that the current year's requirements for the spirit ring were quite high. That's why everyone was bound to go deep into the forest where the danger was even higher. She told him that she could allow him only if Xuan allowed it. Yu-Hu didn't have any other choice but to accept. After they headed back, Dong was walking ahead of Yu-Hu. He asked her to slow down because he couldn't catch up with her. He noticed that she was upset about something and therefore was ignoring him. When he asked her, she complained that the academy was giving more importance to him, even though she was the heir of the Clear Sky sect. She was also upset with him because he hid from her that the academy appointed him as the upcoming master of Poseidon's pavilion. While Yu-Hu was about to explain himself, Dong hugged him tightly and asked him to promise her that he wouldn't hide any more issues from her. She wanted to shoulder his burdens alongside him. After that, they went to Bei's hostel on his call. When they arrived at his dorm, Yan-san, Kai-nan, and Xiao were already there. Before they entered, they overheard Yan and Kai teasing each other about how such beautiful ladies could be dating them. However, when they saw Yu-Hu and Dong, their attention immediately turned toward them, and they decided to tease them too. Yan approached Dong in a creepy way, asking why she hid her beautiful identity under a boy's body. Little did he know, Nan suddenly barged in and punished him for his creepy behavior. While they were arguing with each other, Bei came down the stairs and greeted everyone, welcoming them for their reunion after 2 whole years. He addressed them, mentioning that the high school Spirit Masters tournament was about to be held in a few months, so they had to train in order to win it. When they all agreed, Bei led them to the training ground to exchange some pointers. However, from his body language, Yoo-hoo noticed that he was trying hard to restrain something. When they reached the training grounds, they saw senior brother Chu and senior sister Wu Ming exchanging blows with each other, where Chu was obviously receiving more than he was giving. Teacher Wang Yan and sister Ruo were standing nearby watching their fight. When Bei and the squad entered the arena, they greeted teacher Wang and Ruo. Wang was shocked to see them, and asked why they came at such an untimely moment. He was somewhat upset because he wanted to spend some lovey-dovey time with Ruo. Meanwhile, Chu and Wu also noticed them, and Wu immediately challenged them to a fight. However, Ruo told her to behave like an elder and not engage in a fight with them, but she said that they bullied Ling Luo Chen, etc. on the event day. Ruo looked at Wu to ask what he wanted to say about it. He nodded positively and addressed everyone, saying that there was no harm in exchanging some pointers. He told everyone to take part in it to gauge each other's strength. As all of them weren't familiar with each other, he started to introduce everyone formally. He also told the seniors that Bei's team was titled as the 7 Devils of the Shrek for Life. Wu and Ruo were dumbfounded by the fact that they were titled as the 7 Devils for Life, because they were once among the 7 Devils too, but for only 5 years. Seeing their surprise, teacher Wang told them that 5 years ago when the high school Spirit Masters tournament was held, they joined the event as substitutes, but due to some accidents, one of the original 7 Devils was killed while the other 6 got injured. Therefore, they entered the tournament on their behalf. Only Ling Luo, Ma Xiu, and Dai Yao from the original team entered the tournament. Ruo and Wu realized that in that year, their academy somehow won the tournament, which made them even more curious about them. As a result, teacher Wang told them to enter the arena. He said that Bei and his 6 companions would join forces, whereas Wu, Chu, and Ruo would form another group. Bei was amazed by the fact that the 8 spirit rings Duluo Ruo would also fight them. Wang asked him whether he was going to forfeit because Ruo was joining too. He replied that his surprised state didn't mean that they were not going to fight. Therefore, Wang told everyone to hold their positions, and then started the match. As soon as the battle started, Wu unleashed her Golden Fire Crow Ring and immediately attacked Yan. In return, Yan activated his Tortoise Shell Shield to defend against it. But to his surprise, Wu's attack changed trajectory and went after Kai. As Kai wasn't prepared for it, he hadn't activated his Spirit Guidance Device's armor. Before Wu's attack could reach him, Xiao's Spirit Sealing Scoundrel absorbed her attack and completely obliterated it. As Wu was surprised by Xiao's sudden defensive technique, she lowered her guard. Yan took the opportunity and used his substitution body switching technique on her. She was switched with Yan's location and was standing dangerously close to Bei's team. Seizing the opportunity for a close attack, Yoo-hoo used his complete golden claw, Xiao used her Neon Phoenix dancing flute, Bei used his crushing blow, and Dong used her Butterfly Lord's Ray technique to attack her. She was shocked that she was tricked and left with no choice but to retreat. She unleashed her Golden Crow Fire Rings explosion technique to flee from them. Her technique worked perfectly, and she was able to get away from the point hit range. However, before she could get away completely, she felt a gentle lock on her neck. It was Nan's Soft Bones Lock technique, which sealed her spirit power completely. Unable to use her spirit power, Yoo-hoo suddenly appeared before her eyes, emerging from his snow breeze, and attacked her with his gentle Emperor's Palm Snowless Chill technique. The last thing she felt was a warm current rushing straight toward her heart, causing her to lose the will to fight, and hence she was defeated. On the other side of the fight, Ruo watched them fight, and Chu was crying out loud because Ruo tied him up with ropes. Suddenly, Chu saw Nan's kick coming right toward his face, which sent him flying into the sky. Teacher Wang told Ruo that she was the only one left on their side because her 2 teammates were already defeated. Ruo didn't lose her composure and admitted that they were much stronger than she was at their age, which is why they were titled as the 7 Devils for Life. However, she told them that they were still young and should learn a lesson from their elder sister Ruo. When Ruo was left alone, Kai decided to attack her with his armed suit. However, he noticed that Yoo-hoo's metal detector's instructions weren't focusing right. He asked Yoo-hoo about it, but Yoo-hoo remained silent because he knew that Ruo's spiritual energy's presence was interfering with the mental instructions. After a moment, Ruo unleashed her dazzling gold true body technique. Everyone was surprised by her spirit essence. They wondered whether it was her true martial body form. Bei used his Dragon Thunderclaw technique on her, but her golden bands immediately delivered a massive blow to him and threw him far away. To stop her destructive power, Xiao used her sealing cauldron again to seal away her attacks. However, her cauldron wasn't strong enough to hold Ruo's powerful attacks and got crushed immediately. Hence, Xiao was also defeated. Her spirit technique was among the top 8 powerful techniques. Also, her martial body was in a league of its own. Yu Hu knew that her martial body form wasn't allowing them to attack her directly, and also her golden and silver bands of light were affected by their physical attacks. Moreover, her cultivation also surpassed every one of them. Yu Hu had no choice left but to join his spirit essence with Dong's. It was risky, but he knew that if he didn't use it now, then everyone would be defeated in one sweep. Therefore, he held Dong's hand and formed the absolute ice field. Seeing him opening his field, Ruo also unleashed her blazing fire field. The visibility of the arena gradually started to lower down. Fields were types of spirit techniques where one could hide his presence in the fight by lowering the visibility of the area. However, as there were 2 fields, it was now a game of attrition. The game of attrition lasted for 3 minutes, and then Yu Hu announced that he gave up because sooner or later he would lose all his energy, and Ruo's field would overcome his eventually. He was sad by the fact that his spirit power was much weaker than Ruo's, but he didn't have any other choice than to surrender. As soon as he released his field, Ruo's golden bands attacked him automatically. It was Ruo's Ascendant Sky automatic attack technique in the field. She didn't have any time to stop that attack because it was already extremely close to Yu Hu and Dong. However, when Yu Hu was left with no choice, he used his spirit technique and completely annihilated Ruo's attack. Ruo was terribly scared by the sight of Yu Hu countering her Ascendant Sky technique. After the fight ended, Wu and Chu were jumping here and there with joy of winning the battle, and praised Ruo for defeating the 7 devils of Shrek alone. However, Wang told them not to be too happy about it, because Bei's team defeated both of them with ingenious strategies, and they were also not fighting at their fullest, as it was only a pointers exchanging match. Sister Wu was extremely angry at Bei and his team for how dare they keep their main techniques reserved while they were already exchanging pointers with each other. Bei decided to flee from the situation, so he said that they weren't hiding anything, but Yan blew his idea and worsened the situation by telling the truth. Later on, Wang commented on everyone's strength to Ruo alone. Ruo asked him whether she could have won the match if they had used their actual strength. Wang replied that he didn't know, but Yu Hu was able to use 4 Spirit Essences fusion techniques in the previous big event. Ruo was shocked that Yu Hu and Dong possessed twin Spirit Essences. Wang told her that he was more shocked than her when he first witnessed it. Ruo took a deep breath and was relieved that they had a pretty strong team for the upcoming event. However, Wang said that there could still be some variables. Meanwhile, the 7 devils continued to practice, while Yu Hu and Dong received the approval letter of their request for the ring obtaining event. Zhang Lei, Ruo, and Teacher Kai were leading their team. Most surprisingly, Wang Chu was also on their list. However, they didn't know the other 2 people. When ring obtaining day arrived, they all gathered at the rendezvous point. Wang Chu and Wang Dong were facing each other like adversaries, while Yu Hu was weirded out by the sight of watching 2 girls who looked the same but had different temperaments. Teacher Kai joined them and said that she would be guiding them in the event. Dong even joked to Yu Hu about Mrs. Kai, saying that she was already 90 years old, but to Yu Hao she seemed like she was in her 20s. However, Miss Kai addressed everyone and asked them to formally introduce themselves. Zhang started first and said that she was the commander of the group. Her spirit essence was Moon, and her level was 82. Next, Ruo introduced herself by mentioning her rank in spirit essence and that she was in charge of the operation. Next, Yu Hu introduced his name, his multiple spirit essences and rank, and the same was done by Dong. After that, the 2 unfamiliar students started to introduce themselves. First was the girl named Li Yong, whose spirit essence was Moonblade and was familiar with senior elder sister because she got a boost in her energy every time Zheng used her spirit essence. Then the boy introduced himself. His spirit essence was the Halo, and he was extremely shy, even though he was in his 20s. At last, Chiu introduced herself and said that her spirit essence was Golden Dragon, and she required the 6th ring. After introductions, they started their journey to the Star Duo Forest. As the forest was near the school, they were meant to reach by noon. While they were on their way, Dong asked Yu Ho whether he noticed that Chiu wasn't using her spirit essence to run, yet still her movements were relaxed, and she wasn't showing any signs of tiredness. Even though the places where her feet landed, the small rocks underneath slightly cracked. Yu Hu agreed and said that it was because of her Golden Dragon's spirit essence, which was known for its strength. After covering some distance, Mrs. Kai told them to stop, rest a little, and adjust their state of mind. Yu Hu remembered that it was also the place where he first met Bei and Sister Le Xiao. But it was ages ago, and Sister Le Xiao's whereabouts were unknown now. While he was lost in thoughts, Suddenly, voices of his team came to his ears asking him to cook for them as he was known for his cooking.